Hey everyone, what's happening? Welcome to this video. In this video we are doing a Shadow the Hedgehog EDH deck tech. I can't believe I'm saying this, but yeah, it's true. Sonic cards printed for the first time ever in Magic the Gathering. Personally, I played the game for over 23 years. I quit last year, and then they decided to print these cards, so here I am again. Also, a little disclaimer, I ignored the format EDH for 15 years. Trust me, everybody tried to make me play this format. I just didn't like it. I'm more of a competitive, modern, pioneer standard player, but now that I can actually play these cards, I mean, there's just no excuse anymore. I also made a separate video for the Sonic EDH deck. If you want to check that out, you can also do so. But yeah, I'm actually really liking this version. So this is going to be my version of the deck, and you guys are going to love this because there's so many spicy combos and interactions. I'm actually kind of sad that I think that I like this deck a bit more than Sonic's. Even though Sonic's deck plays my favorite Magic the Gathering card of all time, this deck just looks a lot better. So anyways, let's go into the cards. Obviously, we have the ultimate life form, Shadow the Hedgehog, 4 mana for 2 haste in the Rakdos color, double black, double red, and whenever he or another creature you control with flash or haste dies, you draw a card, so that's mandatory, and it doesn't say non-token. So that's going to be one very important part of this deck. I'm going to be trying to create as many tokens, red hasty tokens as possible, and essentially draw a ton of cards. By the way, from now on, we are going to be referring to the tokens as Marias for flavor purposes, of course, and I also don't have any black flash creatures because those disgusting black creatures.
Disgusting black creatures. Get out of my sight.
They're just not good enough. Anyway, so that's the end of the jokes. Let's head over to the second ability. So this is Chaos Control, obviously. Each spell you cast has split second if mana from an artifact was spent to cast it. So if we cast a spell with any of our Chaos Emeralds, the spell essentially makes it so that no player can cast spells on top of that spell. With that said, triggered abilities that happen when player casts spells, like for example, if there's a counterbalance in play and you cast a card with split second, the counterbalance still triggers and your spell can still get countered. That's something to take into consideration. Also, if you're playing cards with Cascade and you're playing them with your mana rocks, the Cascade spell will not resolve even though it's a triggered ability when you cast the spell. So that's why I don't have any Cascade cards in the deck, but yeah, I did want to mention that. So anyways, let's head over to the first section of the deck, which is the Chaos Emeralds, the cards that essentially are our ramp cards. We have 10% of the deck. Arcane Signet, Fulbar Stone, Liquid Metal Torque. These are kind of basic. This one has a second ability that I'm not going to be using that much, I think. Then we have Mind Stone, essentially like our third Signet. Then we have Thought Vessel, the Rakdos Signet and Talisman of Indulgence, the Soul Ring that essentially has to be in every deck, a Springleaf Drum that gives our creatures the ability to tap for colored mana, which is kind of important, and also can tap creatures that don't have haste. For example, this guy, if you play him. By the way, this guy is just a 2 mana 0/2, just an additional Signet. The guy has flying. He doesn't have haste, so he's not a Maria per se. He wish he was a Maria so that he could draw a card when he dies, but that's not the case. And finally, Mox Amber. I have it here because I actually have a physical copy. So that's the other thing I wanted to mention about this deck. There are a few cards that I'm not going to be adding to the deck that 100% need to be in the deck. And the idea is to have this deck in real life, and it's already kind of expensive. I only have this card here because, like I said, I have a copy of it. There are cards that 100% need to be in this deck. For example, Phyrexian Tower, Phyrexian Altar. I'm going to try to be as budget friendly as possible, but this could be literally any other thing, like the Soul Ring that has Suspend, Mox Tantalite, Lotus Petal, and whatnot, right? So anyways, that would be our Chaos Emeralds. Let's head over to these artifacts that I'm just going to call gear. We have the Swift Foot Boots and the Lightning Greaves. These cards are just too good to not have. I mean, they protect your commander, which is the most important thing, and they also make your non-Maria creatures into Marias, which is super important because obviously you want to have them draw cards when they die. Next, we have Skull Clamp, turns every Maria into a draw 2 card, super powerful card. Since this deck is going to be creating a ton of tokens, you're going to be able to churn through your deck, and there are tons of synergies, guys, here. Like you can create a treasure token, and use that treasure token to equip a 1/1 draw 2 card, keep going, and you have token creators, which we're going to mention in a bit. So this card is just amazing. Next, the Reaver Cleaver essentially creates treasure tokens for Shadow when the creature that it's equipping deals damage to a player, so I just think this card is awesome. Next, we have Wishclaw Talisman, one of our tutor cards. There's also this little cute thing where you can pay 1 and tap, and you can sacrifice in response to the ability. So you can use like Deadly Dispute to sacrifice this artifact to give your opponent essentially nothing, and you can also pay 1 mana to like give it to your opponent when you're going to go off. So this is just a good card to have. Next, we have the Sacrifice card, which for flavor purposes I'm obviously going to be calling the Gun Agent. So these are the cards that are going to sacrifice our Marias for us. We have 9 cards. We have a land that also sacrifices. It's a one-time spell. Maybe this is a bit too few. I might be adding an additional card later on. This one is also really weak, but this is kind of what I have here. So first off, Ashnod's Altar should be Phyrexian Altar 100% because Phyrexian Altar gives you colored mana, but I'm going to try to force that getting 2 colorless mana is better than getting 1 colored mana. It's not, but I'm going to try to force it just so I don't pay $80 for the other card, right? So this essentially makes every creature into just like a pyretic ritual sort of effect, right? Next we have Carrion Feeder, Viscerous Seer, Yahenni, Undying Partisan, and Warren Soul Trader as the permanent creature gun agents, right? So these are like the permanent sack outlets. This one sacrifices any creature, this sacrifices any creature as well. This one sacrifices another creature, so it can't sacrifice itself. Also, this is the only one that has haste, so he's actually a Maria per se, but can't sacrifice himself. This could be like a one-hit kill if you can somehow deal with your opponent's board as well, and this allows you to like vampiric tutor any card essentially if you have enough creatures. This card is also pretty strong. I'm so happy I didn't sell my copy. You pay 1 life and you get 1 mana, so you sacrifice your Marias, you draw cards, you generate treasure tokens, you cast those spells with split second. This card's just great. Next we have Corrupt Conviction. I think this is probably the weakest one, and I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it. Additional cost, you sack a creature, you draw 2 cards. So it's good with Shadow, it's good to fizzle targeted removal, which I don't even think anybody plays in Commander, but kind of an okay card. Next we have Deadly Dispute. It's not a permanent card, but it is just awesome. It allows you to sacrifice artifacts and allows you to sacrifice creatures in response to triggered abilities, and you actually get a treasure token when you do, compared to Demand Answers, which doesn't give you a token. So I have both cards. Obviously this one is a lot better and it also has a much better art, of course. Finally we have Diabolic Intent. Now this could be another tutor like I mentioned, but it's still our 4th tutor card. So we have this one here, we have Magda, and there's another card, I'm not sure which one. Oh, this one, Lagomos. But well, yeah, let's head over to the Marias of the deck. Anger gives all our non-Maria tokens and creatures the ability to become a Maria and is itself a Maria as well. Cavernhorn Dragon 6/6 Flying Trample Haste, so a Maria, a big fat Maria, that when it deals damage to a player, you can create untapped treasure tokens equal to the amount of artifacts that player controls. Chandra, this is just a Maria generator. The second 0 ability allows you to create 2 Marias that sacrifice at the end of turn. Those creatures do have haste, so if you have Shadow, obviously you're going to be drawing 2 cards. And by the way, every 3-drop here curves perfectly nice with Shadow. So you do play this, you create 2 tokens, and turn 4 you create 2 tokens and play Shadow and draw 2 cards. This guy creates a treasure, this guy creates a token, this one creates a token, this one as well, this one as well, this one as well. So each of these cards, there's a lot of synergy. Also this one, there's a lot of synergy with Shadow. You don't have to be a combo deck. You can also like turn 3 something like this, turn 4 Shadow, and you can start beating, right? So that's another thing I wanted to mention. Next we have Fable of the Mirror Breaker. You create a 2/2 that when it attacks creates you a Chaos Emerald. It also allows you to churn through your deck and becomes a legitimate threat on the other side. There's not too much to copy in our deck. I mean, there's the dragon, there's probably like this guy, but there's not that much, right? But it's just a great card to have overall. Next we have Goblin Rabbit Master, Legion Warboss, and House Squad Heavy as our 3-drop creatures that create Maria tokens. These 2 give your creatures haste, so those creatures do have haste, whereas this one doesn't. It gives them haste until end of turn, so that's something to take into consideration, especially if you're doing something competitive. Make sure you read exactly what each card does because they're all slightly different. Next we have Goldspan Dragon. This dragon is awesome. It's basically a 4/4 flying Maria that when it attacks creates Chaos Emeralds, and if it gets targeted by a spell it also creates an emerald. But in addition to that, it also has the ability where your treasures generate twice as much mana. So if you're, for example, playing this card, now you're mana positive. If you're using them for other stuff, that's something really cool about this card. Really strong card. Next up we have Kellogg. Weird name, but okay. He is a haste creature, so he's basically a Maria. When you attack with him, you create a treasure token and you sack 5 treasures and you essentially gain control of a creature for as long as you have him. You only can do it as a sorcery, but still if you have sack outlets, you can like sacrifice that other creature. So you just steal opponent's creatures and sack those creatures. It's a Maria and it creates Chaos Emerald treasure tokens, right? Next we have Knuckles. Super strong card, great stats, works amazingly with Shadow and also with Sonic. This card's just great. Next up we have this guy. He is a 3-mana 1/3. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you create a Maria, and then you have to sacrifice that Maria at the beginning of the next end step, and you can tap him to search your library for a card, but you can do that only if 5 or more creatures die this turn. In the beginning, I didn't have this card in the deck. Now looking back, even as a 3-drop, where you go turn 3 this guy, turn 4 Shadow, he's still strong, but I didn't consider him good enough. Now looking back, not only is the ability really strong, because you can curve this into Shadow, but the second ability you can do at any point in time. Also, you can untap this guy and tutor multiple times. When someone reminded me that that's something you can do with this card. There's no way this card gets taken out of this deck. In fact, it probably needs a bit more help to make the second ability better. Next up, we have Loyal Apprentice, 2/1 haste creature that creates a Maria that gains haste until end of turn, so that's something to take into consideration, as long as you have Shadow. So you can turn 2 this, turn 3 this guy, or this guy, turn 4 Shadow, you're beating for a bunch, you're sacrificing creatures, you're drawing cards, you're doing tons of stuff. Yeah, so this is just an okay card, not a great card, but still creates Marias. We want that in our deck. Next, we have Template Vengeance. This card's just crazy good. I have it in the Sonic deck as well. You can just essentially create tons of Marias, and if any of your opponents decides, yeah, I want Marias too, then you get more Marias, and you can sack them to like generate mana and start, you know, creating treasure tokens and doing tons of stuff and generating tons of mana. Next, we have Urabrask's Forge, another 3-drop that curves perfectly into Shadow. It creates a Maria that gets bigger each turn. Just a great card overall. Finally, we have the owner of the Urabrask's Forge, Urabrask himself. This is just a guy that turns all our non-Maria creatures into Marias, and it makes it so all of our opponent's creatures come into play. So you can turn this combo deck that needs all these artifacts to win into a highly aggressive mono-red beater deck, right? So it's just a great card to have. Next up, the following section I'm calling NPC. So these are the cards that are not Marias, they're not gun agents, but they kind of glue the deck together. We have Academy Manufacturer. If you create a treasure token, you create a food and a clue token as well. Magda, this card is just insane. I mean, you can sacrifice 5 treasure to search up an artifact or a dragon, so you can search up any one of these dragons, right? And the artifacts, which are going to be our win conditions. I'm going to be talking about them in a bit. But you could like sack 5 artifacts, tutor this up, hit someone that has like maybe 6 or 7 artifacts, sacrifice 5 artifacts again, search up like, I don't even know, like you can search up Bolus of Citadel, keep going. You can like have this dude in play and you can create more treasures, and you can like sack creatures to generate mana and cast spell. So you can like do a ton of crazy stuff. This card is just so good, really good. Next, we have Mayhem Devil, sort of like a win condition. It basically allows you to ping when you sacrifice stuff, and we're sacrificing treasures, we're sacrificing creatures, we're sacrificing clues, we're sacrificing, yeah, Marias, a lot of Marias. A lot of Marias are losing their lives in this deck, so this card's kind of strong. Next, we have Pitiless Plunderer. This card's super strong. It basically allows you to net mana positive when you sacrifice a creature, right? Because, for example, you have any one of our gun agents, and you start generating treasure tokens. If you have Shadow, you're just going off. If you're sacrificing a creature with this, you're generating 3 mana, one of which is colored, comes into play untapped for some reason. So this card's just crazy good. It also has 4 toughness, super strong. Next, Professional Facebreaker. This is kind of like a combo-ish card. The first ability is good, right? It allows you to generate a ton of tokens. It's not a Maria per se, but I want it for the second ability where you can sacrifice a treasure to exile the top card of your library, and you can play that. So if you ever run out of gas, you can maybe generate treasures with this guy and then sacrifice those to keep on playing cards from your deck. Finally, we have Zorn. This is just a good card, like a filler card that allows you to get a bit more value off of your creatures. It's like a second copy of Pitiless Plunderer, so he is just a good addition. Next up, we have these 5 cards that I'm calling the Shard Generators. So these essentially are going to allow us to churn through our deck and create Chaos Emeralds. We have Big Score and Unexpected Windfall, essentially the same card, with the difference being that one is double red and the other one is only monocolored. But these cards allow you to draw 2 cards and create 2 treasure tokens in the case of each of these. Then we have Pirate's Pillage, which is a sorcery speed version of Big Score. Seize the Spoils, which is a 3 mana version that only creates 1 treasure token, and the Strike It Rich that has flashback. So these are going to allow us to, like I said, churn through our deck, draw a ton of cards, and generate those Chaos Emeralds to power out Shadow, protect him, and to try to combo off. The land section, I'm only going to be mentioning Midgar, City of Mako, as a gun agent in the land section, right? It's a 3 mana, you can sacrifice an artifact or a creature. If you do, you draw 2 cards. Unfortunately, it's sorcery speed, so you can't do this crazy trick that I'm mentioning before where you tap this talisman, sacrifice it in response, and yeah, give your opponent nothing. But still, it's a good idea to have another gun agent just in case 9 gun agents isn't good enough. But like I said, I don't have too much experience with the format. If I playtest the deck and I see that I'm missing some, I might update to add a few more. So that's this card. Next, we have Scene of the Crime. I have this card here because it is a way to cast spells with split second. Actually, it should be in the artifact land section now that I mentioned. Then we have Soken-san. Basically creates 2 1/1 Maria tokens. Kind of thought that this card would be good enough. Not sure if it is, but it powers out some Maria tokens in the form of a land. But yeah, we do what we can with what we've got, right? Finally, we are going to be mentioning the win conditions section. So this is kind of the most important part of the deck. You're building mana, you're sacrificing creatures, you're drawing cards, you're casting spells in split second. Now, how do you actually win the game outside of beating your opponent with AC creatures? Well, we have Ad Nauseam. This card, I have it here because most of the lists I've seen have it. This essentially allows you to draw a ton of cards, but the main combo here is Aetherflux Reservoir, Bolas' Citadel, and Sensei's Divining Top. The idea here is you play Bolas' Citadel, you can now pay life for the spells that are on the top of your library. You draw a card with Sensei's Divining Top, so you put that fresh card into your hand, the top goes on top, and then you can pay 1 life to cast the top. That triggers the Aetherflux Reservoir, which gives you 1 life. You do that again, you gain 2 life, and you do that a few more times, and you have essentially infinite life, and you deal infinite damage, right? So that's one of the win conditions. If you don't have that, well, you can also use stuff like Alchemist Talents, where the 3rd level essentially allows the spells that you cast with treasures to deal damage equal to their cost to each opponent. So if you're like storming off, you're casting big spells, you're looping some of your creatures or whatever, you are going to be dealing damage. Obviously, this card is not just a win condition, but it's also kind of good. I mean, when it enters, it creates 2 tapped treasure tokens, so it's good with Shadow. It allows you to power out your cards, filter through your deck, and it also gives you this second ability that's basically just like the Goldspan Dragon. It's great for this deck. It's an alternative win condition. It's just great. Speaking of alternative win conditions, we have Birgi, God of Storytelling. Whenever you cast a spell, you add red. And by the way, on the other side, essentially just a 5 mana artifact that allows you to discard a card to exile 2 cards from the top of your library and you can play them. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to bite the bullet and actually pay $30 for this card, but it's just a great card. Next, we have Exsanguinate. I'm going to put this together with Tendrils of Agony. These are just spells that you want to cast for X equals a lot, or after casting a ton of spells. They just drain your opponents, give you life to keep on playing cards with Bolas' Citadel, just keep on living essentially, and you can just drain people out if you've played enough spells. Speaking of playing enough spells, Grape Shot. I don't know if the build is perfect for this card. If you're doing Bolas' Citadel and Sensei's Divining Top, but you don't have Aetherflux Reservoir, I guess you could do like a kind of sort of big Grape Shot depending on your life total. You can maybe wipe the board, but maybe it's better with a deck that has more rituals, but I still have it here because I think it's kind of an okay card. Next, we have Return to the Past. This is basically like a Yawgmoth's Will / Past in Flames. I thought it would be a little bit better to just have it permanent here because the deck isn't a 100% combo deck. It's like a hybrid between an aggro and a combo, so I thought it would be good enough to have. And finally, Underworld Breach. I have it here because some of the list were playing it, but I'm going to have to test it out to see if it's good enough. Finally, we have the Artifact Lands. So these are the 5, actually 6, with Scene of the Crime. These are the cards that allow you to essentially cast your spells and have them have split second. It's a bit of a liability to have Vault of Whisper, Great Furnace, and Treasure Vault since they're not indestructible. There are tons of stuff that exile and destroy artifacts, so it's kind of sketchy, but yeah, 4 I guess it's okay. And lastly, we have 2 spells here, the sorceries that don't fit into anything. Blasphemous Act basically has to be in every deck. It's a board wipe. We don't have any of that. I'm not playing Damnation. There's no me controlling the board. There is no me removing Planeswalkers or removing lock permanents, whatever. There's none of that, so this is a good card just to have. Finally, Fateless Looting is just a good card. Didn't fit into any category, just thought it was good enough to play, and just a really cheap spell that helped you churn through your deck, get to your combo and stuff a lot earlier.
Alright everyone, so that concludes our EDH deck tech for the Shadow the Hedgehog deck. I hope that you enjoyed. I barely just scratched the surface like I mentioned in the video, but there are a ton of different ways to build this. Adding a Gravecrawler to allow the Gravecrawler Warren Soul Trader loop, adding a Dual Caster Mage and one of the other cards to allow for a 2-card combo, trying to find more straightforward ways to create 30 plus artifact tokens so that you can win on upkeep with Knuckles, giving untap and tap support for both Magda and Lagomos, so you can create multiple treasure tokens with Magda by tapping her and searching up multiple cards with Lagomos, and a ton of other stuff that obviously I either missed, didn't see, or just flat out don't know about. So there's huge potential for brewing. My idea now is to build out this version in real life. If I like the format, if I like the deck, I'm going to try to buy the cards I'm missing. I might make an update, and let me know if you're interested in seeing more. We can do other deck techs, we could do leagues, we can do physical events. I can make the deck more competitive. I can record videos of it. I'm going to be recording opening of the Secret Lair product. Heck, we can even do some vintage with Shadow. Shadow's probably the best card to play vintage in. You can actually do it, so maybe we can do some of that. Anyways, I hope that you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.